Well, Gary, Swansea up next, Premier League side, got a good reputation for a slick passing game. It's going to be a big test for the lads, isn't it?
Do you know what? I think it's one of the biggest tests because we're trying to get a team that are good at closing down, making sure that we stop the opposition playing and then we win the ball and break off them. And Swansea are probably the ultimate for keeping possession of the football. And so it's a great coup for us. Darren Way obviously knew the Swansea people, and obviously that link helped us get this game. So that was good, and it's one that we're really going to look forward to because it will see where we are in relationship to closing down, and obviously being the first game on our home ground, not quite in the Championship but against the Premiership team, will just show me where we are and how much work we need to do.
Is that the idea then, really, is to sort of give the players an idea of what it's like to not have possession, I suppose, because you expect Swansea to sort of dominate in that area?
Well, yeah, but we've got to make sure they don't dominate in that area. If they do, then we're not quite doing enough. We know we've got to shut down, but if you give the ball back to them, then eventually they're going to open you up. And they are an excellent team. I think Michael Laudrup has now gotten breaking lines more often than, say, the previous Swansea lads. Listen, every game that Swansea have played over the last 4 or 5 years has been effective. But Michael Laudrup, I think, has just now got them going forward a little bit quicker. And if you're not ready for it and up for it, the transition from being in possession to out of possession can be very difficult if you're not switched on. So it'll help me see the ones that are switched on and the ones that are not quite switched on yet.
10 years ago, Swansea nearly dropped out of the Football League. Yeovil got into it. A decade later, you both come on a heck of a long way.
Well, we have, yeah, and it's been a fantastic feat by Swansea, in as much as you say. But it's the continuity. Swansea have had the chairman, Mr. Jenkins, and I remember dealing with him, or trying to deal with him, with Lee Trundle, and I thought, he was so adamant about what he wanted and what he needed, and there was no sort of like, there was no leeway almost, and I felt, he looked like a man and was a man that was going to get to where he wanted to get to, and obviously that's the attitude you have to take, and it's been a great feat for them, as it has for us, and we've got to enjoy it. You're not going to enjoy losing every week, so we've got to make sure that that's not the case, and all our training is being geared around, look, we're not here to be passengers, we're here to win football matches at this level, and the Championship is a great place to win football matches, because if you win enough, it can be very exciting.
Is there anything you hope to see more from the players tomorrow night that perhaps you didn't see in the Torquay match?
I think they're two different sort of games. I was very pleased with our first 45 minutes at Torquay. People will go, you can't be serious, but they were the lads that have been more or less regular with us over the last season or so, and so they looked ready to me, and it was only really our sharpness or our cleverness in front of goal that let us down. We had quite a few chances, and then when we brought on the new lads as a group, they wasn't ready as a group to play our game. But it meant that we've had a couple of real big days with that group now to show them exactly what our shape is and how much work they have to do. So in a way, we probably learnt more from getting beat 2-0 than we would have done if we'd have won 5-0.
Dan Seaborn played in that game. How close are you any closer to securing a deal for him?
Yeah, I think so. We like him. He's got good quality with his left foot. Southampton thought he was a Championship stroke Premiership player, and then he got that sort of nasty accident, nasty injury. But he's played since for Bournemouth and Charlton. He's a left centre back that can play left back, so that's very good for us, especially when we can't afford a massive squad. So he's good experience for us, and hopefully we can get that sorted out pretty quickly.
Any other of these trialists that you've got at the club at the moment, are they any sort of closer to getting into your plans?
Some are, some aren't. Generally we won't be able to take on too many players now. we're looking for maybe one position now, maybe two. We need another centre back. We know that. We probably need another left back. We know that. So we're looking still at 2 defenders. We need 2 more defenders to come in, and then I think we'll be pretty close to where we need to be.
Does that include Dan Seaborn in that?
No, that's as well as Dan Seaborn. Yeah, we still need a couple more.
And what about Jamie McAllister? How's his injury coming on? It does sort of 2 weeks' time. Is that going to come too soon for him?
Well, we thought that originally, but I'm going to have a meeting with Jamie and the physios here because we think there's every chance that it might be sooner. But we've got to go with the doctors that inject him to get rid of whatever's in there, and that takes 10 days anyway. So, we're hoping that the physios can keep him fit enough so that he's ready for the first game of the season without having too many pre-season games. If he makes the Plymouth game, then we'll be really pleased because that'll be the game before he needs to, show us that he's ready for the first game of the season.
Just want to look ahead quickly to Exeter, the next week. What are you hoping to get out of that game from looking at the players then?
Well, what you'd hope is that you'd have learned so much from the Swansea game that you take that fitness and that energy into the Exeter game. Exeter and Plymouth are 2 games where you would hope to really see a lot of your game. You've got to stop them doing whatever their game is, and you've got to make sure you produce your game. And that's when it becomes serious. That's when it becomes 2 first. Your group is going to be your first team group that plays in probably 90 minutes in those 2 games, and that's when you get to know whether you've selected the right 11, and you might have to fine tune because somebody doesn't perform, or their class is your first team games really.
Exeter obviously a very different challenge to the one that Swansea are going to pose you tomorrow night.
Well, you'd like to think so, unless Exeter are as good as Swansea sort of thing, or Swansea are as bad as Exeter. I don't mean that disrespectful, but there's first division or second division and Plymouth's case and and Exeter's case. They're both teams that we got to go out and produce our game, and hopefully we got to look to be winning both them games.
For me,
I know there's obviously a few weeks to go there and a few more pre-season games left, but are you pleased with the way the summer has progressed?
We won't know yet. You never know. I don't know. I think this is my 25th pre-season, and sometimes we've won them all and got beaten the first game of the season. Sometimes we've looked absolutely hopeless and wonderful. It's what pre-season's about. Sort of building the squad up, building the mental state, getting the principles in place. And if you get that, sometimes it don't always look like you've got that in your results, and then you start okay. It's getting the right round holes into, round pegs into round holes, bringing the right people in. You're never quite sure till they come, because we can't get ready-made people. We got to get people that we think are going to produce it at championship level. Otherwise, you pay top dollar. We're saying, yep, we gut feeling is they're going to play well in the championship. Mr. Liverpool, Mr. Chelsea, or whoever it is, please, can we get them in because we think that they've got something. Then we hope that they produce it, which we've done with our Joe Edwards, Sam Foley's, Terry done it with Luke Aylins and Ed Upsons, and that's our club. And you make some wrong decisions, but at the moment we're making more right than we are wrong. So, but this is a different level, and we've got to make sure that we're getting the right ones in for this level.
Okay. Also as well, you say like wanting to compete, and also the phrase I think I've typed more than anything else this summer is Gary's gambles. But
yeah,
you look at names like people like Danny Seaborn are recognised players, but perhaps have had a little bit of trouble. You brought in quite a mix of players as well, haven't you? As well, so you're confident that those are the ones that are the way to take them?
Well, I'm as confident as you can be at this stage. I've seen them in training, and I know they've all got an effective game. But I knew that before I brought them in. But there's a lot of people playing at your level, with all due respect, that have got a lot. That have got a lot of ability, but just never made it through whatever reason. So you've got to see whether they can produce their best game in the emotion of a championship game, where everybody's hopes and dreams are resting on them. Some people can't handle that, and but I'm confident that we've got the ability here to compete in the Championship. But obviously we've got to wait and see whether that actually comes to the fore.
I know that when we spoke on Tuesday night, you had a dozen players running around the pitch. It's probably best you get that sort of work out of the way now, isn't it, rather than 3 weeks.
That was a punishment, you know.
Well,
somebody said, "Is this a disguised punishment?" I went, "There's no disguise about it. You're being punished," because I just didn't feel they put in the work rate that they would have needed to have put in, and so I proved to them that they still had 20 minutes of heavy leg work still in them, and you mustn't come off the game with still having energy, because then you haven't put enough in, and I felt that was the case. And you know, Paddy sort of said, why did he do it then? Because he played 90 minutes. And I said, because I thought he had a poor game on the day, and the ball kept coming off him, and and people don't like it, but Paddy's a fantastic striker, and he's the most prolific striker that Yeovil have ever had, and we want to keep him that way. But he's going to, it doesn't stop him doing that little bit extra as well every now and again, and he took it well. He's still done his 20 minutes, so you're just proving to them sometimes that there's a little bit more in them, even though they think that they've done enough.
And I'll keep asking as well, but Young and Ralph, I keep banging on about those two. How long are you going to give it before you think that
Ralphie's injuries, I keep saying, is one that he keeps having to go back to the specialist. He keeps having more MRI scans. So unfortunately, we're not going to have him for a little while, because he's just not going to be ready, and his knee's just not clearing up at the minute. So there's a lot more investigation needs to be had, unfortunately. Youngie's training okay at this moment in time. Youngie's probably going to need to get games outside of here first to prove to himself that he's got games in him, and first team games in him. He can't be sitting on our bench for all season again. Do you know what I mean? So we've got to look to loan Youngie and get him first team games for his own sanity, really. And that's because his injury was a long one as well.
So is it safe to say that with Youngie then you are going to look to at least do something with him?
Yeah, we are, yeah.
And one final question. Yesterday, as I left work and cast my eye over the training ground, I saw a short bloke in a cap doing some keep ball as well. Were you involving yourself in the training session?
Was that good?
It looked alright in the fleeting glances.
It was me then. Every now and again, we're all on a little bit of a fitness kick coming into the season, even though I don't look like that. You certainly don't look like that. In fact, having a look around here, you know what I mean? There's not many fitness kicks around here, is there? But Terry's doing well. Darren's always been pretty fit, and it's fantastic what Darren's done when you think of what he would have been like a year ago. Do you know what I mean? Unbelievable. But yeah, we all try, and we all do our little bit when we need to. Brilliant. That was me, yeah.
Thank you.
I heard one of your, well, I don't know whether it's your quotes, but one of your sayings that you omnipractice last night.
What was that? That ain't Nicky my saying.
Yeah, if you fail to prepare to fail.
Oh yeah.
I said, that's
there you go, yeah. It's one we use, and it is one that, it's not one that I can claim was actually, with my initials at the bottom, but it is a good one, and that is so true, and that is what we're doing at the moment.
That's right.
Pre-season is all about preparing. Good one, mate.
Yeah, that was good.
See, I'm brainwashing the media as well. Well done, mate. Keep
Brilliant.
All right.
Cheers, Gary. Thanks,
Well done,
mate.
mate.
Appreciate it.
Sorry I was late.
Anyway.
Right then, chaps.